What's up, leaders? Scott Mathie here, excited to bring another little training, okay, a little mini training to help you improve your mindset. This series is all about mindset because that is one of the most powerful things that when it comes to how do I change, how do I be better, how can I, accomplish goals, whatever, it starts up here. It starts up here with your mindset. And so I want to talk to you about that. I want to talk to you first off just about the N.I.X Your Limits mindset. Like, what does that even mean? How did this all start? And how can it relate to you? And most importantly, what can you do about it? And so N.I.X Your Limits, I know that's a phrase that is just mine. Like, people don't use very often. You don't hear the word N.I.X very much out there in the world. It is a real word. It's an old school word. People don't use it very much, but what it means is to like cut out or to null, like make zero, like eliminate, that kind of thing. And so I always loved that aspect of just like, it's a very like sharp word that's just like boom. And so when I was experiencing of like, man, I really want to accomplish something big, I want to go do big things for my career, and but I didn't know exactly what it was like. I just knew there were going to be different encounters and things, and I wanted like a phrase. I've always lived my life by having kind of different big phrases or something like that. And so with this one, I wanted to say, what's that phrase that I can share and promote for students like me and like you, that to help them be able to achieve more. So I was thinking about limits of like, man, we got to just push through what's limiting us. And then I kind of just was toying around with things, and the word N.I.X came up, and I'm like, boom, that's it. And so ever since then, it's become a thing. But the more that I've studied, performance and how to improve and change your behavior and the psychology of it all and all of that kind of stuff. One, it's enhanced my understanding that mindset matters, okay? It's all about your mindset. But I've also been able to learn and identify of like, let's talk about the aspects of what this phrase really means. Like, how do you N.I.X your limits? How do you get that type of mindset to say, I'm not going to let anything limit me. I'm not going to let anything hold me back from accomplishing what I know I can achieve. And so that's what I'm going to talk about today. I'm going to share the 3 aspects of the N.I.X Your Limits mindset. But before I do, I just want to say, as I'm gearing up and ramping up things on the YouTube channel, please let me know what value you get. Please comment below, give this video a like. I'm really trying to shift all this content towards helping you in being able to just help you do something about your goals, to help you do something about what you feel motivated about, what you're passionate and how you want to move your life towards. And so please just drop comments, and I want to start doing viewer shout outs. I want to start reading comments that stick out of like, man, I got this value, or I tried this, or any of that feedback. So please be a part of the community, help these videos get seen, help give me feedback of what content you want, what we're missing, how we can be better, all of that kind of stuff. And because we're getting ready to roll. We're getting ready to roll. All right, so back to the N.I.X Your Limits mindset. N.I.X, it actually stands for something. So N.I.X is what we're gonna go through of how to incorporate the N.I.X Your Limits mindset. And just kind of overall, before I go through the three parts, the N.I.X Your Limits mindset to me is more about a lifestyle saying, you know what? Things are always gonna come up and try to hold me back, and I'm just gonna decide not to accept it, to just not allow that to actually hold me back. And first, let's talk about what kind of those limits can be. What are those limits? What limits do we have? And so a lot of times, limits can come from other people. Okay, that can come from, your teacher doubting you. I remember having teachers in middle school when I talked about like how I wanted to play college football, or I wanted to go to this big school, like I wanted to go to USC, and hearing thoughts of like, that's good for you, Scott, but make sure you're trying to be a little realistic with your goals, like stuff like that. I know that now I look at it as a very protective community. It was a very small town, and people didn't want, kids to grow up with big dreams and get disappointed and anything like that. So I know it was kind of protective. There were probably good intentions, but I hated that. I hated that. I actually had a niece that grew up in the same hometown, and she went through it too. And seeing that just hurt. It hurt when she got told like, oh, she would never get into that big school. And now she's killing it. She's killing good stuff. Shout out to you, McKenna. And so anyway, today today I'm now to the point where, you know, that stuff kind of just bounces off of just like, hey, this is what I'm actually going to do. Like I work virtually a lot with students all over the country, coaching them with leadership. I put out a ton of free stuff on YouTube and Instagram, but then with the Dollar Leadership Club and the stuff that I do with the coaching program through Team Try, like it's amazing. It's impactful. We're changing lives. We're changing the future. But there's so much doubt purely because people just don't understand. That's a harder concept to say like, yeah, I work from home, but I travel a lot and do all this kind of stuff. And people will naturally just doubt. They just naturally doubt things they don't understand because it's kind of a survival tool that humans have, is to just avoid risk and stuff like that. So anyway, with all that being said, limits often come from other people. And know that most of the time, sometimes it isn't, but most of the time they're coming from a good place. They're trying to protect you. They're trying to, you know, shield you from pain or disappointment or anything like that. But without any of that, you're not going to grow. And so it's kind of you accept of their opinion of like, thanks for sharing that. And then just nicely you redirect and you go do it anyway. So that's the limit. The first limit can come from other people, all right? You can also be limited by your situation. Geography can be a thing, man. Like having just a school that doesn't have a ton of incredible resources. Sometimes that can limit you. Not having like a lot of business classes or CTSO programs at your school is a real thing. That's how I grew up. There wasn't a strong presence of CTSOs. And I mean, there may have been, and I was so focused on sports, but there wasn't enough that I like knew about the opportunities or anything like that. And I know that tons of students are out there experiencing that same thing. That's why I do what I do. And like the Dollar Leadership Club brings through the internet that type of support system and training and community for students all over the country. But anyway, so you can be limited by your circumstance, just by where you are, stuff out of your control. But the other thing that you can be limited by is yourself, you. That's another piece that you could be limited by. Is like, man, you're doing it to yourself. And that is more common than you think. Of you yourself limiting you and then using excusing it away so you don't have to blame yourself, but then blaming your parents, your siblings, your teachers, your school, or whatever. But actually it's coming from you. And so I want you to think about that. When you say like, if I were to say, what was one of your most recent goals? And you said, whatever. And I said, why haven't you done it yet? What category does that limit fall under? It could be one of three, could be all of them. I don't know. But I promise you that you can overcome it. I promise you that you can nix that limit. And so here's how. Here's kind of the three main steps for how to nix your limits. So first, N, okay? N starts for navigate. You have to know where you want to go. You have to know. I mean, think about it. Look at this map, okay? I got this map right here on my wall. Check it out. Super cool. Magnets, metal. Fancy. But you have to know where you want to go, or there's just no use of you being worried about it. Like you just want to wander your way to success. Maybe you'll get there eventually, but who cares? Okay, but you have to navigate by identifying a few things. One, what are your values? Like what do you feel like are the most important things that you do or believe or how you live as a person for your life? And those can be like some key characteristics of you, like, you know what, honesty is number one. Like that's what I have to do always, like that kind of stuff. I have two in particular. There's a few that I like to live by, but two in particular, and they're actually on the wall right here behind me, right there. Work hard and be nice. Those are two big ones that like, no matter what I do, no matter where I am, how old I am, what's happening in my circumstance, I want to work my guts out. I want to work as hard as I possibly can towards whatever it is that I'm having. But along the way, I'm going to be nice because life is all people and I'm going to do what matters. And so that helps navigate me. That helps me be able to know where I want to go, move towards the opportunities that help me do that, and move away from opportunities that don't. And now I say opportunities, I also mean people. Move towards people that align with these values, move away from people that don't. And so navigating, part of nixing your limits is helping to understand, how do I want to live? Let me move closer to things that will help me do that and away from things that limit me from doing that. So part of it is identifying your values, okay? Another one is just identifying like your lifestyle goals. And I've always referred to them as my 10X goals of like, what are the incredible expectations that I could have for my life? And I don't want you to feel any pressure that that has to be like a glamorous celebrity lifestyle. It does not have to be that. Way too often students will hear that of like, what do you want your big goals to be? And then we automatically think of like, that has to mean you're a millionaire entrepreneur, you're a celebrity in Hollywood. Like, you know, if that's not your thing, don't make that your thing. Okay, like it's fine. I love and applaud the people that grew up wanting to go back to their hometown and teach at their middle school. My oldest sister did that. She's the principal at the middle school where we all went when we were growing up. And she's incredible at it. And it fills her up. And so don't let anybody tell you your dream is too small. Don't let anybody tell you that like, oh, you got to be more than that or anything like that. But you got to identify it for you. Like fast forward 20 years, 30 years. Where do you live? Like what would be awesome? It doesn't have to be a certain place, but like what type of living environment do you have, right? Like, are you in a city? Are you in a rural area? Are you on a beach, on an island, in the jungle, in the mountains? Like what does it look like? Who do you live with, right? And like, are you happy? What makes you happy? What do you do with your time? Like, do you feel like certain hobbies really sound appealing to you that you're able to do, you know, XYZ, woodworking or charity work or whatever, okay? But actually think about it, because if you don't think about it, you're not envisioning where you want to go. Unless you think about where on the map you want to go, you don't have a picture of it. So it's really hard to move towards something that you don't know where it is. So that's why you have to start with navigating. Understand your values, understand your goals. Okay, understand your values, understand your goals. Now, next one, I. Okay, so we've got N for navigate, I is for involve. Okay, so now you need to actually start strategizing to bring yourself closer to whatever that end goal is, to live up to the values that you feel are important and to start moving towards that bright future that you've set for yourself. And so now you got to involve, because the current, like that's one of the hard truths that I remember learning of, like as a football player. Like if I want to be like this one year, my sophomore year, I was playing varsity football, and there was this other guy on the other team that, man, he just had my number. Like I couldn't do anything to stop the guy. And so I remember that, like, you know what, next year I have to be a different player to be able to beat him, because the current version of me is not good enough. And so I have to fix it. And I've held on to that principle of like, okay, I feel motivated to do something more than I'm already doing. So that means I have to change, because the current version of me is not good enough to accomplish whatever that thing is. So I have to change. And how do you change? You change your actions, you change your environment, and you change what you know. Okay, so let me back up. Let me start. Like, change your actions. You got to start doing things to bring you closer to those values or closer to those goals. Okay, so that's action. We'll talk more about that later. But then involving more things in your environment. Okay, and just like controlling like the toxic people in your life that pull you away from the values or the goals that you have for yourself. You got to move away from them. I don't mean you have to be a total jerk and like, sorry friends, they'll never see you again, you know, or like, sorry parents, like whatever. Like it just means to spend a little bit less time around those people, or to ensure that you are working without them, and then you can go have that social time with them. It could be as easy as that. It's like, you know what, I just don't study with those friends anymore because it was always distracting. We never got any of our homework done, or it was never to a level that I wanted. And so I'm gonna go handle all of that, and then I can just go have fun with my friends because they're my friends. Okay, you can come into the middle somewhere. You don't have to just nix people from your life. This is nix your limits, not your life, not people, right? So just keeping that in mind, okay? But in controlling your environment, you gotta think of the people you spend time around. Where do you go? Okay, are there places that you study, or like maybe you need to redesign like your room a little bit, like just move things around to help you feel better. I feel like your environment impacts you a lot. No matter where I work, I always try to have a good space. When I transition to work from home, I'm like, okay, I have this pretty small office space, and how am I going to like decorate? What am I going to put on the walls to help keep me motivated? To just help me feel like it's a place where I want to work. So you got to think about your environment. Then you also have to think about what you know and how can you know more. And that's where it can involve a mentor. You got to find somebody that can help show you the way. Find somebody that's already been there on the map or somewhere super similar and ask for help. Ask them to coach you. Ask them to hold you accountable to things. Ask them to help you know where to fill in the gap from where you are and where you need to be. I promise you there are people out there. That's why I made the Dollar Leadership Club. That's why I do everything I do on social media. Hello, hi, I'm here. Let me know. I can help. Okay, but there's so many people that can help. There are incredible teachers out there, coaches out there, advisors out there, parents out there, siblings out there, uncles, aunts, local business people. There are people all over the place. If you're willing to ask, you will find them. If you're willing to DM somebody on Instagram, somebody's going to respond to say, heck yeah, I'll help you. You'd be surprised how willing people are to give back and help, especially students, especially motivated people that are trying to be better. And so find a mentor, find a way to improve your environment by cutting out toxic people and moving into situations or environments that help motivate you to study, help you think clearly, help you focus. And that's going to help you be able to continue to move towards the things that will allow you to follow through with your values and to move closer to your goals. But at the end of the day, okay, you can navigate, you can make dream boards, you can cut out things from magazines and put it on pictures on your walls. You can have fancy phrases on your walls. You can involve the right people. You can, put yourself in good situations. But the last piece is that you have to execute. And so that's the X of N.I.X, is to execute. Okay, so you got to do something. And that's what it all comes back to doing. To actually N.I.X your limits, you have to do it. You can't think about it. You can't just write it down. You have to do. And so what will you do? Okay, it can start, if you're starting from nothing, go back and start all the way at identifying what values you feel like are most important to you. And then move on to say, what are my 10X goals? What are those incredible big time goals that I would love to accomplish in my life? Review those all the time. Just like if you're trying to travel somewhere, you got to check the map every once in a while. You got Siri telling you what turns to take. You look to see when the next turn is. You keep focused on where you're headed. So you got to do that with those goals. Then you start to involve the right people, the right places, the right things to help you know more, to help you feel more focused, to help you be able to do more. Because that's what it's all about, is to execute. How are you going to execute? What are you going to do about it? Every time you feel motivated, that should automatically be your thought. That's where the mindset piece comes in, of saying, okay, cool, I want to be different in this way. Like, I want to get better scores in my math class, in my AP history class. Cool. How are you going to do it? What are you going to do? Okay, there's probably something that you need to do differently, or more things you need to know, or whatever, so you fill that gap, but you got to do something about it. So don't just identify it, follow through. And that's the N.I.X your limits mindset, to be able to encounter any type of motivation, any challenge, and say, okay, this is going to help me get where I want to go by living my values, bring myself closer to my goals. Cool. But now what do I need to involve to help me get there? Okay, so that's a better habit of this, better studying habit, better, personal organization or whatever, better communication. I need to be a nicer person. I don't know what it is. I need to move away from those toxic people. I need to stop studying in front of Netflix. That's never going to work for me. Whatever it is, you have to identify those things and start involving the right things, but then you got to do it. You got to go do it, because that's all that matters. And so, how are you going to N.I.X your limits? What limit are you going to N.I.X? I want to know. I want to know. So either comment that below, shoot me a DM, because I want to know, and I want to bring the energy, the enthusiasm, the tips, whatever it is that you need to help you push over the hump so you can actually N.I.X that limit. And the entire reason for that is so that you can go and achieve whatever that goal is. So let's go achieve it. Go do it. Okay, navigate, inspire, execute, get out there and N.I.X your limits.